Welcome back, everybody. This is DJ from D&D Sports, and this is my Jeep Wrangler TRX4. Originally it was a tactical, so if you're aware of, those bodies come with the fenders that are mounted up underneath the body. So this does not have any fenders on it, and I've turned this into a Jeep Wrangler with a Proline body, which I'll insert a picture right here. And what I'm missing here is the fender flares. So the fenders that are mounted inside a TRX4, whether it's the tactical body or if it's one of the Land Rover bodies, they're pretty wide, and for the Jeep body those are too wide, so they need it to be trimmed down. Well, Traxxas has a solution for that, and they've come up with a narrow fender that mounts to the chassis. Let's take a look at that now. Okay, like I said, Traxxas has come up with a solution. It's part number 8080. So let's open these up and compare them to the size of the fender flares inside the TRX4 body. Okay, so what I'm after is I still want to be able to use the Rocklight kit on the Jeep Wrangler body. So these still have the Rocklight mounts. It comes with some hardware, some extra parts and pieces. And if we look at the size of these, see how they're going to mount in there. These are marked like left front, right front, rear. If you also look, there's a very detailed instructions. The very first thing the instructions have us doing is removing this piece that holds the shock tower up on all four, because the fenders have a shock tower mount right in them. I removed these two bolts and the one that actually holds the shock itself in on both sides, and I should be able to remove this tower. Okay, so there's what it looks like without the tower. Installing the rear fender flares is these two bolts on the rear of the chassis need to be removed, and that's what will hold the new fender flares in place. Okay, with those two bolts removed, the new fender flare kind of, you can see it very focused, locks in right here, and you'll see where you put the two bolts back in. Okay, so now with the fender flares on, I had to add a little bit of light. Put the bolt back in there, put the bolt back in there, and then the two extra ones that I had, I put back in those holes there because it's holding up some of the supports for the chassis. Last step was to install the shock, which with these ones they give you 4 options. I chose the more straight up and down option for the time being. Down the road I may adjust that, but just for now I chose the first one. Okay, so I got the rears completely done, and I wanted to put my Jeep body on there just to see how well it was going to line up. And you look up underneath, it lines up dang near perfect. It's just a little gap around the Jeep body. So for a body with a narrow wheelbase, such as this Jeep Wrangler, these narrow inner fender flares will work just fine, and you'll still be able to install the Rocklights. To install the front fenders, it's a little different from the right and left because there is a steering knuckle right there that is going to have to be removed on your left side. So I'll remove the 2 screws on either side of the shock. I've already removed the screw at the top of the shock tower and have to remove the screw that holds the body post to the shock tower. So with the left shock tower removed from the truck, I'm going to now install the left front fender. Just in a few short minutes, I now have a fender flare mounted to the left side. And as I sit here and I look at all the pieces that are added onto this, I have to give credit to the engineers, designers over at Traxxas for really thinking ahead by knowing that customers are going to take their bodies off, put other bodies on that may need these smaller inner fender flares. The thought about the LED lighting to have the module post pre-mounted in there. A lot of thought, a lot of time, a lot of development goes into these Traxxas cars. Okay, so with both front fenders installed, the last thing I wanted to show you is the optional battery tray that comes with it. I'm sure Traxxas must have a plan down the road to install, have some additional things that may require a small battery. So that's what that is there, and they include the hardware for that. Alright, so here we are after about 45 minutes to an hour. All 4 of the narrow inner fender flares have been installed on my TRX4. Well, thanks for watching and being part of my Traxxas TRX4 Jeep Wrangler build. The next video will be the install of the rock lights, and we're also going to have a surprise new body for the Jeep. Stay tuned. Thanks for watching.